All right. God bless you, everyone. And thank you for the support. It's really what makes me continue and the conditions in which we find ourselves. I tried to scratch my nose off in my sleep last night. It didn't work. It's still there. No, I can't. uh, so I hope you all are good and families are good, children are good, and you're good. Um, I know it's hard out there. Um, I want to get into a bunch of stuff today, kind of some different things, and also get into the title of this video. So, really, without your support, I can't do this. It's my work never gets easier. I wish it did. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just think after a certain amount of time, the snowball rolling downhill would accumulate enough snow at some point and get going, but it's just pushing that thing down the hill nonstop all the time. Uh, Pamela, good to see you, and thank you for your support. I want to get into a few things this week. And this is a really good question. I'm going to get into we're going to what the title is about, but I had a few important issues come up this week, and I wanted to get into them. And it's not, and it's something that's come up before, and that's when you sign the trust and you give everything to God, right? What do you do with all that stuff that's God's? Then is basically the question, whether it be money or whatever it is. What do you do? Like at that point, what do you do? Um, that's why I stress at all times having a one-on-one relationship with God. I can do my best to be intermediary. I help you. Hey, these are the basic rules of the situation, and in that situation, they would apply this, that, and the other thing. That's what I'm here for. Otherwise, why you send me back, right? But beyond that, the you sign the trust and you do the best for God, and that you're able to sign and find out the information to accept it and make a donation and like do all those things, and then oh, I did it. Yay. And so I'm able to match outside what's in the outside world, what I found with my intellect, right? Oh, this is a system. This is what's going on. I can match it with what's inside me in my heart, right? Head and heart together. So the paperwork can match what's in your heart, your love for God, right? It matches. Trust matches what's in the heart, love for God. So for those individuals where it's in harmony, head and heart, right? Ahead, all the paperwork and all the things in this world ahead, and watching over who you got to watch over, and all that stuff. Head and heart comes in. No, oh my God, I need to do something about that, whatever it is. And support that and help that, and I have more resources and I can help them with this. Uh, how do you decide what to do? Who to help, when to step in, when this is such a good question. uh it's hard because uh we got Frank and Jason and Alan. God bless you all. That's so good to have you, and thank you for your support, and my goal is to support your journey forward. um so we're going to get into a couple things today. Be patient with as I get to each one of these, because they're each deserve their due. So we're getting into signing the trust and what to do with your assets. And some people are in situations where they have extra, and they're like, who do I help? Like it's such a miasma out there, such a swamp. It's like, oh, you like, who's faking it and who needs help, who's with God. It's what a mess. And so you're gonna, I mean, ultimately you sign the trust, and where people, what I think where this question comes from people is not with their own dealings. You know what I mean? I don't think it comes from it. I think it comes from seeing what other people do after they sign a trust, and if they're staying there with God and stuff, you're seeing it's not always congruent with choices you would make, you know? And that's what makes this trust a convention. It's not like a church where it's like, hey, here are the rules. And you see somebody breaking the rules, it's like, oh, they're breaking the rules. So, hey, you got to change because the rule is that. You go, oh, yeah. Well, hey, if you don't change, you're out of the church. Boom. You know what I mean? That's a that's churches are set up like that, you know what I mean? I haven't really exactly laid out super many rules except for, love God and love your brothers and sisters. Like those are the rules. How am I going to make some other rules that God didn't make? I don't feel qualified, I don't. Uh, and I also think it would get people off track in a belief in rules instead of a belief in God. You see what I'm saying? Is why I stress a one-on-one relationship with God, because if God gave you something to watch over, would it be a human being, a child, now a grown-up, or whomever, or things, or money, or whatever? People with head and heart together, right? They're in harmony now. Oh, I'm working for God. This is fantastic. Those people are not a concern. You know what I mean? Like th- then I get the question from the people that are so concerned to getting it right. Just tells me I needn't be concerned about them, because they have their head and heart together. They're so concerned. They're asking for, hey, they want to get it so right. They're looking for any feedback to help them get it right. You see what I'm saying? Which is fantastic. That's great. Um, I had this martial arts instructor. I was really into like the internal aspect of it, like the energy and meditation and so on. I was hanging out with this guy, but he had a thing. He said, when you're in martial arts class, yeah, you can learn from me. You know what I mean? Like he's the instructor. Oh, okay, but you also learn from your classmates. In here, and so we would interact with one another and stuff. So, but he was stressed that learning came in both places. So that's the way it is. I mean, I'm totally good with checking in on everything that anyone wants to bounce off me and so on, but uh, n- because we come up on difficult situations. I mean, for me, questions, problems, everything like that, there's a spiritual hierarchy. So my questions go up, you know, or sideways is what I'm saying, or down if you're still in class. See, that's like martial arts class. It's not, it's okay to learn in all directions, is what I'm saying, from people who have their heart with God. That's all. That's all. That's why I'm not like, hey, Alan's on this plane and Bam's on this plane. Like what that would no, we have a certain amount of time, and we're getting to God. That's it. We're gonna do it. And that's it. The hierarchy of information is what you're looking for. And so it's more like a hierarchy of ability and knowledge, which is based on that you've done something before. So, for example, let's say someone's not in Florida, they're somewhere else, Texas, California, in another location, right? Let's say they're doing some part of Liberty Aid Academy's work, um, you know, and somebody just did exactly what they're trying to do. Let's just say, they're in a certain county and uh, Texas, or let's say Missouri. Let's say Missouri because it's such a snap there with Tammy. They're in Missouri and they're like, "Oh, Tammy, how'd you do this? It's so great. Your thing just automatically did it. How did you do it?" Tammy would be the one to know, not me. I'd be like, "Oh, ask Tammy," because I'm not in Missouri, and she did it. So, um, that's knowledge on the path, abilities, and knowledge that it's there from someone having done something, right? It's why Mayor Baba said, anyone who's spiritually advanced to say fifth, fourth, third plane, as he describes them, can help someone advance up to that point, but no further. You see, so you can help. You can get help from many people whose heart is right and actions are right with God. Like the people in here are all about it. And they're with God, doing their best for sure. So um, you have and can continue to learn a great deal from one another as we go forward. You see, not just from myself, is why I'm if we had a place to meet, I'd be much more concerned about, that we can see each other individually and can hear each other, because what each individual has to say and share matters to me. So, not that there's, oh, we can hear them, but I don't, what are you saying over there? Like that doesn't make sense to me. Because someone's individual journey to God and everyone's sharing their, hey, we're going to take time to share our journey with God. Okay, well, then everyone's part of the journey matters who wants to share it. So, I want to hold a space for that if I was doing that. That's that's kind of what I'm getting at. So, continuing in this, that means, it's on our shoulders, on our own karma, and should be to put head and heart together and make sure we do the best with the assets that God gave us. That's what we can do. We have to do that. Um, and, and this is such a rare question, and it only comes from people who are super with God, who have their head and heart together so much that this weighs on them, and it shouldn't, because that's all they care about. So they are just going to continue to develop the one-on-one relationship with God. So you're like, oh, what should I do in this situation? Something's on your mind. Should I support this organization or not? Or I saw this situation. What should I do? First of all, the first thing you should do always is pray for them, right? Pray for them. God send them help, right? Uh, so I love that part about Pilgrim's Progress. I want to bring that up. So good. That was the best. Anyway, so the goal is to have head and heart together. So when you come upon those situations and you're you're praying to get the answer, you hear it from God directly, and that's what you develop over time. That's what's happened to me. Is so my only goal for everyone else is that they're one with God. I hear directly from God, but I'm here to help, of course, the whole way through as anyone needs it. Yes, but I know what I hate saying, do this, don't do that, because then I've sort of taken away the karma from you, and you're supposed to be, balancing your checkbook as you go. So the end of the loop happens, and I am with God and I did it. So I don't want to do too much. I don't want to over guide. I'd rather under guide. You see what I'm saying? And tell you the truth, and then you have the knowledge, and then you could, oh, based on that information, I should do this. You could check in or whatever. I was thinking this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's makes sense. That's fine. If a sticky situation comes up, I'm happy to help with that. Yes, but mainly, you're gonna be right, basically, probably. I wanna say almost all the time, you're probably gonna be right if it's really a great concern, if you prayed over it, you're asking to hear from God, you probably did hear from God, and it might be just a double check with me, you know what I'm saying? Which over time will become, less and completely not necessary in any way, if it is at all even to you now. So I'm available for that, I'm saying, but, this was a good question, and it has come up several times before, you know, from people that God gifted with more assets than they need and can help others. It's wonderful. Like that's the last person that needs to be concerned about, are they doing the right thing? I mean, they pray over it, they do it. Like in my what I've seen, those individuals that ask that question are in no need of that concern, because the concern is within them already in their heart. They're so want to get it right with God that God will help them. get it right. You see what I'm saying? And the more you completely trust in God and be like, okay, uh, you know, uh, I trust in God. I trust God will send me the message I need, and I will leave an opening space in my life and time, and I made time to listen to God, and I took a walk, I meditated, you know, I gave it a week, or things, whatever works for you, until you hear what you need to hear from God, because uh, and the question is, so that's one part of it, where you're not a concern, but what develops a concern, I think, is where you see what other people do with the trust. So you're like, what in the we're still, it's a piece of paper. It doesn't uh change their heart that instant if it was off. It just doesn't. So many people has come to me like, what, this is a great loophole, money. Like, yeah, okay, well, let's start there. But who's witnessed more treachery abusing this trust than me, and over, you know what I mean? So you come to the right place for an answer. But if they sign up with God to teach them a lesson, however many lifetimes it takes, you put your, yeah, really signed? Okay. God's gonna do it. They're gonna, whatever their behavior for some amount of time, but God's like, well, you signed, so haha. It's gonna happen. So I just look at it like, well, you and I can't make the decisions or actions for anyone, so it's on them. But we can pray for them, and we can do our best in our individual progress forward, and let that be a yardstick to others around us. Uh, Different than the ones we see as a yardstick. We're like, what is going on over there? We can only do what we can do, and know that it's noticed by God and everything that exists in here. Like, uh, that's the test. That's the game. What do you do uh, every day with the situation that we find ourselves in? You do your best. You know. So it's such a heartfelt question, and I know it can weigh on people heavily. I've seen it weigh on people in my family heavily, so I know, and it can be, money can just be an absolute disaster. So I look at it like it's an accelerant. You know what I mean? Like, chemically, like, money's just an accelerant. Well, stand back, I'm gonna throw some money on it. You know, ah! Whether it's good or bad, throw some money on it. Oh my God, something good happened, but it's based on the situation. Like, if you give money to someone who's not in a situation where they can do something useful with the money and make any progress or help anyone, like, that's not going to be helpful, probably. You see, and you learn to make those judgments through experience. Uh, so money, if someone's kind of in the wrong place, hey, I just, if I could get a little more crack, like, for the week, I'd have crack for the week. Well, here's some money. Uh, you solve their desires, like, that. Hey, that's what you need. Well, I know how to, here's money. So that can continue, that problem, and exacerbate if it's a problem. But perfect masters, there's so many odd. There's a story that threw me off. That's the way to say it. Threw me off for a minute. The first time I heard it, I was like, wait, what? And it was about it's just coming to me right now, so thank you, God. But it was something that I read in Mayor Baba. It was a story about this perfect master who, like, oh, yes, someone had come to the perfect master, and he said, "I want God realization." He said, "Sure, just do what I say, and don't ask any questions. You're not allowed to ask any questions, and I'll get you there super quick." He's like, "I'll get you there, no problem, but don't ask questions, because I got work to do. So just follow along, and no questions, and just, uh, you know, uh, So he like went with him. He's like he went to this rich guy who was like having money troubles, and he went to him and made it so he could have super many more millions. And it was like, continued on with this thing. And the guy's like, and he had gone to this poor person all the way too, and he didn't give him a bunch of money. Didn't make that so it happened for them. And the guy who wanted got a realization was like he couldn't take it. He was like, the poor guy you didn't give money to, and the rich guy you gave more money to. What are you doing? And he said, I told you, I'm giving God realization, but no questions, and he said, you can't handle it. Uh, it was, yeah. Uh, it's sort of like, perfect master's here to accelerate your progress on the path, right? Speed it up so I get to God faster. Okay. Money could do that too, right? Like it could speed up the situation. Uh, Too. Oh, you want more money? You still have a desire for money after having so much money? Well, here's some more money. Until your desires are expended, but they can be expended in the opposite direction, I think is what the guy was noticing, who wanted to God realization. He was like, I don't understand. Because you're thinking if you don't have money, you need money, but really everybody's problem is they don't have God. You see, that's their only problem. There is no other problem. They may have a short term, you know, under the dome, living on the day problem, money, food, who knows? We all have that, in some regard. Uh, but the real problem is that people don't have God, you see? And so they want to find satisfaction in the world and the things and the money and all that stuff. So that's not possible here. Uh, it's never going to be possible that happens here. And so the people that decide to trust and are with God and so on, and God, you have some money left over that you can get some help support people. That's really super rare to have that. It's not an eye of the needle situation that you need to concern yourself about not getting home to God because you're going to do the right thing. You see, it is usually an eye of the needle situation with someone that has money because it's all they care about. It it gives them, the boost in their ego that sets them apart and lets them know they're good because they have money. No, you're good because you're with God and are doing the best with what you have, whether it be $100 million or $100. It doesn't matter. You are given a certain amount of something during your day. What did you do with it? You know what I mean? Oh, I have enough to feed four, and I have my wife and two children. Okay. Did you feed yourself only? You probably fed your family, like with what you had. So, uh, that's what it's about. Um, and then taking the time to do your best with every part of your day to be with God and the people in here are doing that. So you're not a concern, but obviously it's a concern that wealth can exacerbate a problem and create all kinds of trouble. Yes, that is can be commonly true. And it's just also because people don't know how to deal with money or they're not given even the fundamentals of how to handle money, like with this trust and this is what you do. Like people just don't have that information. They're not taught really anything about money. So not in school or people don't know anything about it. It's like asking gets you like, whoa, it's not it has so much tenseness and pressure and anxiety and all this other stuff on it. Uh so I just think it's really good to keep it on the low and, help, you know, when you can. Like, I like to help it honestly, but I don't always do it because of my position. So if I don't do it honestly, hey, I'm making a donation. I'm going to use Megan as an example. I was like, make a GoFundMe. I'm going to donate. Just not for me, because like, I saw his uncle, who I know here. He's like I saw him the other day. I was like, "Oh, dude, yeah." And we talked about like situation in a second. He's like, "Oh, I sent him a few $100." I was like, great, So wasn't for my, you know. I don't care if people know I donated. I was just some people might donate because I did. That's the only reason. Uh, but I also want to be like, oh, that's that guy. Well, maybe I'll donate. So that's a jerk in Florida in the mobile home. I'll probably donate. So kind of like that makes sense too. But otherwise, God knows everything, and you know that. So uh, keep it on the down low is a good way to do it, and support things and so on. A flip side of that too is like being too parsimonious, I guess, if I'm using that word correctly, is being too not spending money. You know what I'm saying? Like on your family and stuff like that. Like, uh, you know, you're not going to be the waste types. If you care about this stuff, if you're careful with money, if you're asking this question, if you're concerned, you're not going to be the money wasting type. Like, that's not you. So, you're not going to. We find ourselves in a situation where we have to be an example to others. So, we have to be the example. Oh, if I had money, I would do X, Y, or Z, and people are going to watch us. So, it's like, you want to sort of uh not have any desires that like make you put a bunch of money into something, because then someone else would be like, oh, if I have a working desire, you put it into that. No, but just live a balance kind of a life, and look for situations where something's very out of balance and you feel like in your heart, I could help in that situation, like my kind of car and home flat by a tree. I mean, that's pretty easy. So as an example, that's an easy example. So how can you do wrong there? You can't. And the question did not come up around Mike's donating to Mike. It didn't. I'm using it because it's such a easy example to use. No one had that question about giving a Mike or nothing like that. These are just general questions that I've gotten multiple times actually. So I just kind of wanted to address it. I hope I didn't overpick on you, Mike, because you're such a sweet dude to you know, use you as an example. I hope that was all right. Uh, so okay. So that's a test too that we have to pass. Having money is a test we have to pass. We have to have a test not having money. We get tested on everything up in here. So you're gonna pass. You're gonna have a heart. You're gonna know the rules up in here. You're with God. You're gonna pass, and you'll be careful and just take the time as needed. Don't ever let somebody pressure into, oh, my thing is now. Da, da, da. Yeah, that doesn't work out for my timing or whatever. I have to pray to God. I have to, you know what I mean? Never, and that takes how much time it takes. It's not like, hey, God, hurry! I need. That's not the way it works. So you must have a clean heart and head and stuff like that as you do it, and you will, because it's just the way you're gonna live. So it's sort of something that needs to come off weighing on people's hearts, because I know the people asking about this are so caring. You're doing that all day anyway. You can only do your best, and then you move on to the next thing you do. You don't let it weigh on you. You're like, God didn't send me any thoughts to do something else, so that's on God, because I could just do my best. You have to give it over to God. You work for God. So God send me what to do. Because you can't get it wrong if God tells you what to do. You didn't do it wrong. You're like, yay, thank you. I got it. Possible you can do your best. But the goal is to continue to hear from God for that reason, to not make any bad moves, not make any wrong decisions. So we keep getting better at that. And if you make a wrong one once in a while, God forgives everything, and you'll get better next time. So don't let it weigh heavily on you, and take your time that you need to make those decisions, please. Okay? We don't want regret. We don't want scars, car. We don't want those things weighing in on us in the past. So just be patient with whatever comes up in that regard, please. Good question. I wanted to address that. Oh, I brought up Pilgrim's Progress when I was talking. My God, that's such a great story. I love it. It's a video on a cartoon video that that Alan brought up, and it's on uh, Amazon. Sorry, and so I recommend it. It's wonderful. We're going to talk all day about the thing. That thing's so good. I recommend you see it, and then maybe we'll talk about it next time or something. What a great recommendation! Thank you. But yeah, I recommend it to everyone, and you'll see. It's just Pilgrim's Progress is a pilgrim on the path to God. That's what you all are. So it's like your story, and it says that at the beginning. It's very, very kind of real and sweet, and it has all the things that'll make you chuckle too. So thank you for that recommendation, Alan. I recommend it right back to everyone else. Yay. Um, so just generally, I think I'm gonna go for a gathering. I double check with Alan. So, let's just generally shoot for trying to make this happen unless something comes up because George thinks he could get his family to make the trip and so on if it was during his children's spring break. So why don't we shoot for that time? And I asked Alan, where would you like to do christening? And he said around here instead. I said Missouri or South Carolina or like where. I'll go anywhere. So he was like, do it around here. So I was like, okay, Florida. So okay. So unless that changes, so mid-April in Florida in this area, generally. So let's get some more specifics and so we put it on the calendar and make it happen. I'm not the best at that. Other people are very good at it. And so let's continue on with that progress for that. Okay. And sometime during that time of gathering, we'll make sure Lenore and anyone else who hasn't been baptized will be baptized if they want to. And I would like to give out uh, previous people that have been baptized. Uh, Hopefully, there should be some certificates to hand out for that situation and the people getting baptized. So, we hope to have that paperwork available for that process at the time too, which is pretty looking good at this point and everything. So, I'm just saying that we're gonna make it all congruent like that. And as so, is yeah, I'd like to meet you and stuff and get that done and share time with you. But these are your homies, like that trip to India. I think everybody was just surprised how well everybody gets along because we're so similar uh, in the part that matters. So anyway, I just want to put that out there. Let's have that develop. Okay. Everyone's donations, Pauletta, Pamela, e everyone that's donated overtime, Jay, JP, look, I can't do this without your support, and I continue to get support, and I just wanna say thank you, so I'm gonna continue to do my best. Winter's tough. Like, this work way is so difficult. I go in and out of very, different health situations, so I don't waste your time with all that, but it's just, uh, part of the process of unfolding. Uh, so let's go into, some specifics of what we need to talk about. Let's get into the title of what I said. Choosing the next Christ. I think that's the name of this thing. Uh, and it's funny. I have to deal with some seemingly logical incongruencies that I need to uh, bring around to show you that they are logical and they are proper conclusions and to help you understand this. Okay. So when Bear Baba says, "Oh, I was this one, I was that one, I'm the avatar," right? What does that mean? Uh, First of all, you're never going to see Bear Baba here in a body. Yeah, no, he wasn't here in a body. Neither was Jesus Christ. Neither was Krishna. Neither was Ram. neither was Buddha, right? And yet, people see them, not here, right? Oh, Jesus came to my house and knocked on my door, just like that book said. We had lunch yesterday. J. Bob and Jeannie. You see, we had lunch yesterday. No, that's not what people don't experience. Oh, I had an experience with Jesus Christ. They don't experience it physically. Do not. You see what I'm saying? So when their Baba says, "Oh, God is the Avatar," that's true. You see what I'm saying? When Jesus comes to you, that's God. When Buddha comes to you, that's God. When Mary Baba comes to you, that's God. That's God. He is this one, that one, and the other one. Yes. Who else could play that role? In the ether, from the ether, show up and be there. I'm Jesus. That's God. Being Jesus Christ, a character. So, and you know when you visit with him, that was God. There's no, you can't. There's no chance of messing that up on your end. No way, no how. What? That's reality. Yes, yes, that was God. Oh, so when their Baba said, "I'm one with God. I'm the Avatar. I was this one. I was that one, and so on." That's God is playing those roles, obviously currently now, you see, and every day and forever has and will. But they didn't live, but yes, God was this one, I was that one. I know my script. I come to people in the ether. I know who I am, you see? So now you're like, wait a second. Well, who's this in the body, right? If I said I have Christ consciousness, I tell you all this stuff, which is true, which nobody else, a whole bunch of other people know, but they can't say in order to differentiate who I am, right? And to have a game where you're like, oh my God, somebody found out the hidden information. Yay. And everybody else kept totally silent and never gave it away. Still doesn't. Still doesn't. Still doesn't. And so you can differentiate, oh, who has the information? Right? Oh, who won the game, right? Who has Christ consciousness? Who, right? Yes. Who became one with God first? That's what it is. And is still here in the body, because I got some questions. Yes. Who do we ask? Like, I want to know some information. Who to ask? All right, Jamie and Jeannie in the house. Okay, the warm up's over. Everybody, get it together. Seriously, ladies, I'll be here. Got some heavy hitters in here right now. Okay, and not just you two. Yeah, I'm Paul. Okay, so then when I say, "Oh, our Christ conscious son, the avatar," what does that mean? It means I can't differentiate myself from God, like, because I'm like, my memory got wiped when I got put in here. What's up? What is my actual name? It's an overlay on me. Like, this is BS. I can't. In fact, I can't even remember the first 8 years of my life or something. I was like, wait, this don't make no sense to me. What's going on? You see? And I finally figured it out. Yes. Who wrote the books, right? God wrote the books, right? That's what I'm saying. I was this one, I was that one. God wrote the scripts, God plays the characters. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, exactly, exactly, exactly. So when I say the goal is, who are you is the question. You see, it's imbued within us, it's embedded within us. It is the very root of us. Who are we? And the more you go on in this life, you're like, I'm getting less information on that, right? Like, what's my actual name? What's like the paperwork's no good. Like, wait, I got dropped in here. Wait, what's going on here? And so what happens after you have the experience, right? It's an experience of meeting with God, and then oh, I met with God. And so each time it happens until you get the seventh plane, it's actually, then your consciousness is not separate from God. At the point of meeting with God is there's a reintegration process afterwards. It took me 7 years. It's like a 7 year process too. Then you reach infinity, right? 7 years, and then you reach infinity. I'm with God and the infinite. And so you realize who you are. You're like, oh, I'm God. Not like people say in the books and stuff like that. You're like, my actual identity is I was a drop in the ocean and a drop reunited with God. Like me. I'm like, I have to come back here, like I thought it was done, but I'm not saying I have to come back here as my individual me, myself, and I, this, how you Jack or whatever, I'm saying God has to come back in here. I'm not separate from God. You see what I'm saying? I'm not like that's my consciousness now. You see? So when I'm like, I have to come back in here, there's no way to get out of here. Wait a second. And so you see what I'm saying? Like you're with God, and then you go through this separation thing. You're reuniting with God, you realize, oh, I have to come back in here as a drop, as a here. But do you see? Like at the end, when you get joy with God, you're not separate from God. So how can you say you're not God? Like you're experiencing, oh my God, I have to come back here and but not as this individualized consciousness. God has to, which you've rejoined. I'm I you know know what I like and don't like, and what I would choose and wouldn't choose in certain situations, and that's what sort of makes me what I am and who I am. But it's my consciousness, and then I got reunited with God, so I still have an individualized sense of self, but also at the same time running, the same tape loop, read by the same tape head. It's I'm not separate from God, so it's not like so that's I know this is not easy to explain, but so when he's saying, "Oh, I gotta come back and be this one every time," that's what happens. Not that I have to myself, not that Mayor Baba has to himself, but when you rejoin with God, whoever plays John McCaig really is gonna be the avatar, but so is anyone else who makes it during the 64 years to, God. Will you get tossed back in the body? Maybe. Doubtful. You're not gonna be the first one. That's what I did, but yeah, you could get tossed back in the body after you meet with God, after you hit the seventh plate. You could. I don't who why? Because God decides that. I don't decide that. God does. What? I That's not me. Right? That's it's just hard because your consciousness is unlimited. You're with God and you're in here in this finite place, and those two just don't join up. They don't logically make sense, although that paradox does in fact exist in this reality, just rarely. I have that consciousness that I exist in a body. Okay, super rare. You see, it's because God wills it to happen, no other reason. So, and that's why my mom said, well, usually at death you achieve, God realization, because unless you have a specific role to play in the hierarchy that exists here, why would God send you back? You see, like, no, what? No, like you won, well, go home. That's the whole point. Go home to God. You're one with God. You did it. So why come back? Well, someone has to come back. Yes. And that's what I want to talk about today. And that is we're in 8 times 8, right? There are 8 parts of this time loop of 8 years. And we did the first 7/8 of the time loop, which point I reached the seventh plane, right? In those 7 parts. And now there's one part left. That's 8 years left. During that time, see, listen. I was watching this I heard this sentence and it totally turned the key in my brain, and it was so obvious once I heard this sentence. And I was watching this thing on Amazon about football, Coach Prime. It was just some football thing I was just watching. And he said, there's no success without a successor. And it's like, bingo. That's what I need is a successor. You see what I'm saying? And one will be chosen, not myself. One will be chosen, not myself. Uh, and so in this first build up, I won, right? But John Jack wins every time. But then who is the next part? You see what I'm saying? is the one who's gonna maybe come back and get their memory wiped to be the one that wins the game next time. Yes. Because I already done it. I already used up 7/8 of it during the last eighth. Someone else is gonna come up. Yes. To do this and get their memory wiped and come back in here, win the game next time for the next game, not myself. Because my consciousness is joined with God, can't be separated. I can't come back in here and have my memory wiped again. You can't get separated again once you won. It would be what it makes it couldn't make sense except for the one that wins the game in the last eighth. God be like, hey, you won. God's like, here, you won. You get to do it next time. You're like, thank you. I get to be John Jack. That looks so relaxing. Thanks. So you see what I'm saying? Best I could do is what was Alan's gonna say something. Do you think Sridhar or the other perfect masters, whoever they may be, will be played? No, I don't. I don't think they will be changed. No, I don't. I actually don't think they would. No, I don't. I don't. I don't. I do not. I don't. I do not. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't think anyone else can be Sridhar. I just don't think it could happen. Yeah, I know you're thinking that because I just like you see the things that got to be said to me and stuff, and it's just who else could do that, dude? Like who else could be so nonchalant and easy, knowing it's the right thing? Who else could do it? There's no way. Like you think my job is hard, and it is. There's a certain and Sridhar does have a heart, totally. You know what I'm saying? Sweetest guy I ever met, ever. So it's not that he don't have a heart. So that's not it. So it's having that level of sweetness of a heart and yet sticking to the script and not saying a word or anything. You know what I'm saying? And letting it unfold. Oh my God. No way. Yeah, no, I don't see that, and I don't see the reverence and dedication over so many lifetimes that so many have for him. I don't see that as a possibility. I would have it for him forever. So I don't, and he should have it. He should have it from God made him to do that role. So he should have that level of reverence completely, completely. So so the five perfect bastards, oh, that's right. He did say Mayor Baba said the five perfect bastards are always the same for him. That's what he said. So yeah. So, but me no, but the spot where you get your memory wiped and stuff, that those change. You see, those change. Who's gonna play me next time? That's gonna change. I've said that. Uh, but reconciling this with everything is an adjustment, and it's so difficult because I have to explain it. It's not just I have to live it and go out there and sit in a cave somewhere. I have to explain it, and people's action based on the truth it exists, and I'm here to answer it, whatever questions people have. And then based on your actions, someone is going to be chosen by God, not by me. Certainly not by me. No way, Jose. Uh, no, no, certainly not by me. Certainly not by me. So don't look to me for that. You see, it's not about that. Uh, I'm just here to. You're doing your best to get to God, and whoever does it best gets the hey, you're the best servant task. Go back and serve again. But just in these 7/8, and then another one will come. You see what I'm saying? And that's how it's a constant. Yes. And you can see that I pointed out, you know, that hey, whoever wants to be Christ for sure, I get the free home thing and make it work and tell everybody, show everyone, get the proof. To me, that's easy. But who wants to be John Jack? Probably no one. And you still want to get to God. You probably maybe play whatever role God told you, like me. If I whatever. Uh, But that's not the only way, is to do the free home thing. You know, we have to be here. Each minute is given a different, situation. The cycle continues and more stuff comes our way, right? There's no pause button in here. So everything God sends you from here on out, is your opportunity to end this in the next 8 years and go home to God. You don't have to come back here after that. Only one is going to be chosen to do that. Like you say, Sridhar and them five perfect masters, they stay. Like Matthew, when I met him, like, there's no what? There's there's only one character, who's death. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Yeah. And other people can take the role of devil, but do you want it? No, my God, no. So that's the same character. So yeah, no, those, like the archangels, yeah. Like the archangels are created without going through a process of so on and so on, right? Those are the ones, with the leading roles in here. What? The God trusts out you're gonna play this character, and that's who you're gonna be, Gabriel the angel. Who else is gonna pay Gabriel? What? I don't think so. You see? And then that's individuals that have been created without a need to uh go through this process of evolution and evolution. They are created without that need. And when you meet with Gabriel, you're like, okay, you're not like you don't. The need isn't in him. It's not in Sridhar either. That that the things that other people have in them like that, those are not in them. Those ones that got created there. You see, they don't have that game driven evolution in them as the nature of them as a creation. They don't have it. It's not in them. They are created for their purpose to hold the space, and that's why they deserve our, if they made it difficult for us, forgiveness and our prayers and our thanks. I shook the devil's hand. Good job, man. You had me, and they still need to play against you. You're never going to get me, but I did need that. Thank you. So we're done. But thank you. So when he said, "What's taking you so long this time?" Right? It's interesting because it would be your first time, but no, he said was taking. I didn't say this time. Did I? Did you think I say that? Maybe I did even say that, but I didn't. He didn't say that to me. He said, "What's taking you so long?" He did say this time. That would have been a slip up on his end, actually, and he's never gonna slip up. And ever, never, never gonna happen. By God. No, not your mistake. Probably my mistake is saying something. You rarely make a mistake, my man. No, it's probably my mistake in recounting it. But I hope I did so properly this time. Infinite time for sure. That's exactly right. And the people that serve him directly around him and so on have that level of reverence for him. They do. And they should, and they do. And that created it in me. And that helped me understand where it could go to. We were talking last week about there has to be some type of variant. Do you think John McCaig is a variant, not in character, but as something else, maybe timing or action or timing of actions? Yes, from what he said, I see what you're saying. Like, oh my God, uh, it's hard to. That's good. It's like being a guitar, and being picked up by 2 different people, you know what I mean? Being picked up by a 3-year-old that's never seen a guitar and can't remember their previous lifetimes. Guitar is gonna sound different than, like, if Sridhar picks it up and plays it, you know? Uh, so but listen, it's just so incredible to be on the to be the guitar, you know what I mean? To be the sarod that Sridhar plays at the fewest notes possible, the fewest words possible, to get so good at your craft over so many lifetimes the way you do, that to pluck the string so lightly and say such a thing with sound into me that it would cause a response for me to do something, it's mind-boggling how adept the amount of sound can be, so to the point where you could just play a sarod and not even say a word and make images appear in my mind from the ether. It's and to actually take the time to say words to me, you know what I'm saying? Like what you said, you know? So few over the years, honestly. Mostly me talking, you know? And so always interrupted by somebody else knocking on the door, having to need to ask him questions. So, like, my time was never, ever, ever, ever what I wanted it to be. Only when I first met him for like 15 seconds, or a month or 2 or 3 or half a year. I was like, oh my God, I have a new best friend. I was like, yeah, it's, I, I just want to say to your point that there's no way that anything is withheld from Sridhar or any of the five perfect masters. And that is, think of how perfect you become at playing the John McCaig guitar and just telling that character exactly what they need to hear to move forward at the exact time it was taking you so long. How many words was that? You know what I mean? And I think I am, you know, towing the earth behind me up a hill, as Sisyphus. And he's like, hurry up. I'm like, if I get to the top of the hill ever, I'm coming for you. Uh, you are, but he's so sweet. You can't even have that response. Oh, so as a Sarod, after you've been played by the master, that's what occurred. So I don't think that timing is ever going to be different or any of these things. It's strange. I just don't. God wrote a song, and he's like, "This is the way to keep it fair." Once you meet with God, the nature is, oh, you want equal rights. I don't think you. I don't think you understand what that means to God. Like when you want to make an equally fair game and you have unlimited consciousness and unlimited everything to back you up, talk about a fairness that the outcome is based on fairness so much it's impossible for people to even fathom slightly. What? You made a 64-year time limit so everybody play the same thing and you're making it exactly the same thing every time? Yeah. There's no way that people can handle that. But it speaks to the nature of God and a love of fairness for all. Absolute must be. I care for each of you all the same and love you the same. Universe is not played as a creation of God, but as a web of interconnections. Whose single point of origin, yeah, from the single point of origin of God, and then it goes back. It's like where you see the crepuscular rays come in and you're watching them over you, and they go like, oh, they're shooting out from the sun. And then you look up and they're like, they came back together. It's like above your head. Like, wait a second. And then they went back apart again. It's like, oh, okay, you can make things go apart and come back together. Like, that's amazing. So, yes, no, it has to do with that. Definitely. Dee Dee. Suffering is a consequence of fairness. Suffering is a consequence of unfairness. Suffering is a consequence of your not understanding your nature as the nature of God of absolute, complete, and perfect fairness. Yes, suffering is a consequence of God's desire to go, hey, my nature is fair, so you have to come back that way. You see? So, but the only way in this infinitely complex place, even though it's one script happening again and again, the only way to make the right decision is to get the answer from God, because there's no way, unless Sridhar's willing to answer. Good luck finding him. I can't even. What are you talking about? What? Ay. Well, the universe itself is not the primary concern. Let's just say this to that. And the way Mayor Obama said it, and I've been meaning to say this. Thank you. The universe was built for us. We, you, and me. We weren't built for this universe. No, we're God. This is here to feel not God. So when we return to God, oh, that's my nature. That, remember? No. This, no. And you see, they have a different feeling, yes, and that's why our nature doesn't match theirs anymore. They have a different feeling. Oh, this is our place. It's like, man, this is totally not our place. That's our feeling. Different. So, let me continue. Understanding its cyclical nature helps individuals understand the nature of suffering and work towards liberation from it. Thank you. Yes, that was what it says. The Buddha. Oh, okay. Yeah, that sentence had it all. What? Okay, God wrote that one. I like it. I love it. I was like, you have God realization. I read that. I was like, the Buddha. Oh, okay. Like, that's it. Suffering is just one key point. It's, you want the knife sharp. Okay, you need a stone and water, right? God's the water, and here's a stone. That's those, and where the knife is. So those things have to come together, and that suffering is sharpening it. Different avatars had different understandings. Yes, that's why God has all the scripts and all the characters. Don't worry, I'm going to get you there. I got all these scripts and everything. I'm going to get you there. Come here. Next time you go there. Next time, don't worry. I got it all planned out for you. You're going to make it. I got a million different characters for you. You're going to be great. The Buddha was perfectly spiritual. Yeah. Yeah. All of those things are perfect answers. Me, John, Jack, he's going to play a character. He's going to get it close every time. He's going to get it as close as he can in the amount of time he has. God has an infinite. He didn't even have time. He was outside of time when he made up time, all the things in time. So of course they're perfect. They didn't even weren't even created or thought up, in time. They're thought up outside of time and chucked in here. Zoroastrian explained church. Okay, I think Zoroastrian is Mayor Baba. So I haven't looked into him that much, honestly. I just go by what Mayor Baba said. Zoroastrian was the first one to say there's one God. He was just the first one. That's the story of him. Uh, there's TV here. When our parents watched church back then, church was family gathering at meals. Agreed. That was sweet. We all have to eat, the humans, anyway. Uh, Austin said the church was gathering at meals. Oh, yeah, agreed. And so that's why I'd like to, do the same when we get here. That'd be great. Let's see what else I have here to make sure I don't skip anything. Okay. I think I've kind of touched on everything I need to touch on this week, and with kind of a final thing I could go into, I guess. I lived in Asheville, you know, and I did my best to tell people what I knew as the truth then. I did my first videos on this YouTube channel from a park in Asheville. It's a Beaver Lake there. I just sitting on a bench there, uh, and showing the paperwork that I had. I remember parking that day, walking over there and sitting down there. It was like two benches and like an arbor, they had like an arbor over two benches, and they look apart from across from each other, and there's a path there that leads out to the little lake in Asheville. That's where I started, and man, I lived there a couple years doing the work. I when I did that first uh, podcast or whatever, that was a bunch of it was from Asheville, and then I went away from there, and one time I went back and I spoke in Asheville. It cost me a bunch of money and stuff, which I didn't have or nothing at the time. I just cared about the people there, and I was like, man, if I could just get them this information, this is earlier, it me getting the truth, and I was just like, oh, I gotta get up there, I gotta tell people up there, like, I wanted to reduce their suffering. That's all I cared about. If they had the truth, their suffering would reduce. That's the only thing on my mind. I didn't have it no other way. And uh Smashville for real. And I watched a video over the past couple days about this place called Haven on the Hill there, and I see people that are suffering up there. Ain't nobody listen to a word I have to say in Asheville. I mean, I did my best to crack everyone on Facebook. I spent money on advertising, rented a place to be. I did so much. I got in touch over the years. I did so much. I tried so hard there. I really tried with individual turning people. I went back to that town. I tried with Daniel there. I tried and tried. Smashville is right. I smashed my head up against Asheville, and I just felt like I was hitting hitting a rock, and nothing. Just I didn't care how beautiful the place was or how much I wanted to help. None of that had any nothing. It did nothing. It did nothing. It breaks my heart, basically. Smashville was a disaster before a disaster, right? That's for real. Yep, it was watching a series of yeah. I mean, but it's a beautiful place, and there's so many, so much potential there that just no one wants to hear about the truth. No one wants to hear about God. None of that. You know, I'm not even going to say some of the stuff I know about Asheville now on this video or anywhere because I don't want to bring some of that into my life. But uh, it's so ridiculous, once you open the door, and devil's like, "Oh, what did you?" No, I wasn't opening it for you. Get out. Uh, so I don't know. I saw hearing a lot of suffering, and the government hasn't done anything. It's the people that did it. Are they ready to hear why you think this is a free country? Why are we paying for land? They want to hear the truth yet. I hear their suffering, but I don't hear enough. I don't just. What if I went up there? Would they? Could I get an inch? I have already been up there several times over I lived there for years. Nothing. Okay. Nothing. 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 Not. Oh, hey, I did it. Nothing. Nothing. Do you understand? Nothing. 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 You see what I'm saying? I was able to accomplish nothing. You know, I put everything I had into it up there at Ashford when I was up there. And what occurred was nothing. Okay. That's just That's what I'm dealing with here on my end. Like, all right, you want the job, you want to fight to see who's the next Christ, or yeah, it's not cool, but it's worth the outcome. I don't like suffering. I hate it. I try to end people's suffering. I try to tell them the truth, and they just reject it. And I just don't know if people could ever hear. You people do and can, and so how few are we? It's so strange. So I don't. I'm constantly kinda like my head is overriding my heart, like, I just wanna jump in the car and go to Nashville, like, I'll write something away, "Hey, here's a little booklet, like, here's what you need to know." It's like, man, ain't nobody wanna know the truth. I was like, every time I go to Nashville, I have to remind myself, "You've already been here, you already what are you doing back here again? Trying to tell the same old crew, the same old thing. What's the point? Don't do it." You see? It's hard for me, it's hard for me. Ejected high public speaking, yeah, and so much was going around, it was hilarious, yeah, it was yeah, hilarious, like, horrible hilarious, yeah. Oh my god. I wish you guys would have been on my end watching it, went on for weeks, this whole it did, it months, really, the planning and oh my god. Yes, you're dying laughing, Jack was speaking like nothing was happening, yeah, it did, it was Asheville. Have y'all seen the video, right? Have you? Go watch it and listen to noises. Yeah, yeah. Or go watch the one in the firehouse too. Yeah, those are some classics. I mean, I have been at this for 15 years. You get me straight, 7 days a week, 15 years. Of course, I did it at a place that, I have people that I loved, cared about anyway. In some regard, shape, or form, or just where my feet were standing. Hey, guess what? How could I not? You can get connected to the God and the truth. How can you not have an immediate reaction to trying to help your loved ones? That's what happened to Jamie. That's what happened to Dee. That's what happened to Alan. How can you not immediately have that reaction? You do, and it continues. And what happens out there is we're trying to help others is just absolutely stuns me to my core. It makes my head always have to catch up with my heart. It's I'm being real because this is real. This is where we find ourselves, and those ones leading out there on the path are gonna and the devil's like, well, they just drain their resources, then they can't do anything. Yeah, it's very be patient, be careful. I don't care if the clock is ticking on your end. I have to be careful to hear from God and think this through and so on. Where's your proof? Where's your proof of what you said? It has to be like that. We can't just all from the heart. Like it doesn't. That would just be draining resources, and we won't be helping those that really need our help, like our, of course, our family and loved ones under our roof, and da 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 da. Da. You see, they were trying to drain our sweetheart as they're just so, it's like they're vampires, just like, oh man, you ever eat a Christian heart? Woo, baby, that's my favorite blood to drink. That's them. So we just have to accept that's their nature, and we have to be discerning. They say you're not supposed to be judgmental as a Christian. Who says that? We have Judgment Day coming. It's named after what we should be. Judgment. Like what? We have a day coming up where it's like, how was your judgment your whole lifetime? Yeah, no. God's going to judge us for our judgment ability. What did you do? I named a day after what you should be doing, judging what you should be doing and then doing it. So, okay, it's so hard. I've just been through, because you first get wise to this, and it's like, oh my god, then you knew there was suffering, but you had no idea of the lifetimes and the like it hits you so hard that you're like, "Oh my god, the suffering is so much worse than I ever imagine." It's you mean our memory gets wiped and that oh my then the suffering is not infinite, it's infinite times infinity. So it's infinitely suffering and then infinite time. Oh no, my heart cannot. It's unacceptable. Get me out of here. You see? And so that's our response. And in the meantime, wanting to get out so quickly, like at a sprint, get out of here, God. We have to be the opposite, very patient and very discerning on what we're going to do and who we're spending time with and so on. Because they're going to be like pressuring us and all this stuff and be like, I feel your pressure, which is not, that which pressure and anxiety, that's suffering on their end. Or acting like it's suffering, whatever. So we just have to be discerning. We can share our prayers and the truth. And sometimes if we have extra, we share, like, that's what we do. But we have to be patient with ourselves. That's what we were talking about at the beginning, right? Yeah. Ask Daniel Wicker. Karma is real. Weather's an outcome of karma. Do you think all that you see the same? Was I in the end helpful to Asheville by doing everything that I did, by bringing the truth and pushing so hard and giving so much of my resources when I had none, time, energy, money, everything I had, my heart, I poured everything into that place because I was like, I cared about it. It's where I was. So I'm like, I'm starting to hear. Forget it. I'm doing it here. I'm here. I'm here. This is it. War starts here. I had nowhere. So now it's the opposite reaction to what I done. So, you know, what other people can't hear from God, other people can't have suffering and do something and then hear from God the truth? They can. I did it. It happened to me. So they can do it. Anyone can do it. They can. They can. This is the free zone. You see what I'm saying comparatively. This guy had to wake up and now I'm saying, no, I'm setting the table for a game where the truth is out there. You don't get to say I didn't know. The hive mind knows. So everyone of the hive mind could have switched, can switch. I say you can, I say it every time. So you know it's true. You could switch now. You could sign the trust. You could be the next Christ. Or you don't even have to do that. You could make it to God. Just make it the last 8 years, right? Just, love God, love your brothers and sisters. You won't be killed. Switch from the hive. You could do it. You can. They can't kill you. I got proof. You witnessed it. You've seen it through the hive many, many times. They can't kill me. You're hive by. You've seen the proof that I can't get killed. So karma is on you in the last state. No one's free. No one's I'm playing a character. No. You think somebody else can't step in and play your character? They will, says someone else. If you leave your shift and sign this trust and come over to God, they'll send another character to do your shift. Someone will fill in. That's this place. Of course they will. God will send someone. That's how you win. I'm stepping off. I'm leaving. I'm signing up and I'm going with God. That's how you win. No one, not you, are you on one side of the line and are you on the other side? It don't matter what side. That line's gone. It's gone. I removed it. I removed it today. It's gone. It's never going to be down there. Not before the next. It's gone. I heard it go. What's that? Anyway, so you see what I say? That's what I heard. What the heck? I heard those too. I was like, what was that? Anyway, so okay. You feel me? You see what I'm saying? This again. And just so you know, like I it's that's the right way to say it. I say this. I, you know, I got I have a lot of love for Sridhar because he got me where I got. Like God got me here, but obviously Sridhar took his time in his lifetime and did what he needed to do to get me here. So when I saw him have to suffer because of what he done for me, breaks my heart, right? So just prepare yourself. I just try to be just you know what? Just be real. Right? That's not doing nothing. She's like, okay, so that's the information for today, and so all you have your head and heart in the right place, and I'm saying remove them shackles of worry. Where you put your energy is the right place to put your energy because you're going to be patient. Say your prayers, ask for God's advice, whatever. Okay, that's also we're removing that yoke of the eye of the needle from you. Individuals, a sign of trust, and if got to God and all that stuff, you don't have that, are you no more? Just because you got some money, you're always going to do the right thing. You see the truth, you accept the truth. That's a yoke. This are you. The other yoke, yeah, that's what it feels like. Shoot, what do I do? Yeah, that's what it feels like. Get used to it. Whatever you have, everybody feels like that. You see what I'm saying? Oh, it don't matter how much you have. That same yoke. Oh man, I can't mess up. Can't mess something up. I gotta get home. Okay, everyone. You're good. You're as much with God and doing the best as you can. So, concern that you're not going to meet up with God should be your concern because that's our goal. Yes, yes, of course. But I don't see that as a concern with you all on my end. You see to say your head and heart are in the right direction and you're pushing forward. You're doing your best, meaning. And so that's all you can do. So remove that yoke of I'm not doing my best because I see people in here that are doing their best. So here we go again. Maybe it's rain or something. Uh, oh, thank you, Dee Dee. Anyway, so it was a good week we had here. I'll be back next week and we'll do some more stuff. George, thank you, everyone. God bless you. Watch over you, Jason. Thank you once again, Sean, for your advice, spiritual mentorship, and guidance. God bless you. Everybody else here on this one. Oh man, you said it. God bless everyone in here. I know this work is hard. I'm going first. You get to watch it, but I know you get to do it too. So I know it's not easy. So you could do this. You could keep being with God. You're going to make it. It's worth it. It's not that much longer. Okay. Jay Baba. God loves you. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Thank you all. God bless you.